Intro Algebra Lesson 3-1B. At this point in practicing solving these very simple one-step equations, most people are not willing to put forth the effort in actually showing the work, and as a result, as the problems get more difficult, they no longer have the skills to keep up with the difficult problems. It's imperative that right now, while the problems are simple, you practice what you do to one side, you do to the other, and you actually learn how to show those steps. So we're just going to go through that again to make sure we actually know those steps. Oops. I went a little too far there. Example number 1. 4 plus y is equal to 12. Now, we want to get y alone, which means we've got to get rid of the 4. So the opposite of a positive 4 is a negative 4. So we will add negative 4 to both sides. Now, I know some of you are saying, yeah, but can I just subtract 4? Absolutely. It's the same as adding negative 4. I just find people don't make as many mistakes with the negatives if they're willing to do adding of the negative instead. So the 4 and the negative 4 cancel each other out, which now leaves y alone, which is our objective. When we add a 12 and a negative 4 together, we clearly have more positives. We have 8 more positives. And all it takes is a moment to plug that back in and see if it actually works. Is 4 plus 8 12? Yes. We know we have the right answer. But practice these steps. You can check it mentally, but practice the work of showing what you do to one side, you do to the other. Alright? Another situation where it's really important to change the sign so we don't mess up, I would highly recommend you make that plus a positive t. So you're actually dealing with 5 plus t equals 14. It is now very similar to the first problem. Yeah, different numbers, different variable, but awfully similar. We can now get rid of a positive 5 by adding a negative 5. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. The 5 and the negative 5 cancel. T is now alone. 14 has 9 more positives than the negative 5. If you test your answer and plug it back in, 5 plus 9 is 14. It works. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. All right? Here's a situation where we commonly make mistakes. When you see minus the variable, you've got to be very careful. What most people don't do is make this plus negative. Instead, they leave it as a subtraction, and they think they've got it all worked out. The opposite of subtraction is to add. We don't write 19 plus. We don't put it that way. Notice up here the addition is in front. Notice up here the addition is in front. We don't write addition signs after the number, which means this 19 and this positive 19 are not going to cancel out with each other. They're actually going to add together and make 38. You just made this side bigger than you wanted it to. You didn't isolate the variable at all. So instead, we make this plus negative x, and now I know I got to get rid of a 19, and by getting rid of a positive 19 requires the adding of a negative 19. Now a 19 plus a negative 19 will cancel out, and I'll have what I want. So plus negative 19, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. Please don't forget to do that very crucial step. The 19 and the negative 19 cancel. I now have negative x is equal. There are 18 more positives. 18 more positives with 37 than there are with negative 19. But if you stop now, you'll be done. You'll have the wrong answer. If you change, because we don't want negative x, we want positive x. So if you change the sign, you got to change the sign over here as well. Alright? Can't assume because you want a positive x that the answer is going to be positive. If you change it from a negative to a positive, this has to change from whatever it was to the opposite sign as well. Alright? And one more. All kinds of situations here. Very, very crucial that you're willing to make some additional changes to the problem. Change subtraction to addition means you must change the sign that follows. You're actually dealing now with this problem, which is a much easier problem. You want to get a alone, so you got to get rid of negative 9. The opposite or inverse of negative 9 is an addition of 9. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So the negative 9 and the positive 9 cancel. A is now alone. You have 7 more positives than you do negatives. And if you were to test it out, negative 9 plus positive 7, yes, you have negative 2 more negatives. That's it. So these problems are almost identical to the problems we went over yesterday, just different variables, different numbers. Same process, what you do to one side you must do to the other, and using inverse operations to get the variable isolated, get the variable alone. Doesn't matter what side you get the variable alone to, as long as it's alone. You can check it mentally by plugging it back in for the variable to see if it actually works in the original problem, but please show these steps.